Afghanistan?
I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now.
Can you just fill in a few risks like everyone, sir?
Well, he doesn't want to talk about Afghanistan, but we do. 2 weeks ago, on August the 14th, Marine Nicole G texted her sister from Kabul airport. Don't be scared, there's a lot in the news lately, but there's a lot of Marines and soldiers going to provide security. We've been training for this evacuation and it's actually happening. So I'm excited for it. Hopefully it's successful and safe. I love you. Well, it wasn't successful, it was a disaster. And it was the very opposite of safe for that brave Marine. She came back from Kabul today, in a casket. Biden was there, he saw it, saw what he'd done. Good. Maybe now he'll stop those offensive little speeches telling us what great progress he's making with his historic airlift. Here's how the mother of one of the other murdered Marines put it. Biden is a feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap. It would have been hard to imagine last Sunday that the pathetic, pitiful man in the White House could have fallen any lower, but fall he did, to new depths of weakness, incompetence, and cruelty. Last Sunday, hours before we came on air, Biden said he was looking at extending his August 31st deadline for removing all US troops from Afghanistan, but on Tuesday, he was wheeled out to say that actually no, he wouldn't move the deadline. What changed between Sunday and Tuesday? On Monday, Biden sent his CIA director, William Burns, to Kabul to negotiate with the Taliban. It wasn't much of a negotiation. They said, no, sorry, we're not extending your deadline. It's our deadline now, so you'd better get out. And Biden just rolled over and accepted it, despite the chaos, despite pleas from Britain, France, Germany, everyone, despite the fact that he knew it would mean leaving countless Americans and our allies stranded behind enemy lines. On Wednesday, when he was asked about that, Biden just laughed and made a joke about it, a joke. And then came Thursday, the deadliest day for our military in a decade, 13 of them murdered. Scores of Afghans murdered, their blood flowing into the sewer where they had desperately gathered, the sewer where Biden's reputation now belongs. Of course, the terrorists were responsible, but Biden must be held accountable. Those people died because of Biden, and everyone knows it. Biden knows it. He knew it when he finally faced the cameras later that day, a broken, defeated man. This image, the defining image of a collapsing presidency. And unbelievably, even after the carnage, he gave the terrorists another victory. Instead of fighting back, Biden actually exploited the deaths of our fallen heroes to say, see, this proves I'm right, it's chaos, we've got to run away. But it's chaos because you're running away, you feeble idiot. And then Friday, as if Biden thinks we're the idiots, he orders up a random drone strike to try and look tough. If the guy we took out really was the planner of the attack, why the hell didn't Biden take him out before he killed 13 Americans? Now he thinks if he can just make it through to Tuesday and get all the troops out, we'll move on. They announced on Thursday, after weeks of telling us there's no way they could put a number on how many Americans are left in Afghanistan, they can now magically say there are 1,500 and 500 of those had already left. Today they're saying it's down to 300. And we know perfectly well that any minute they're going to announce that all those Americans are out. Do they really think we're going to fall for this? They don't know there were only 1,500 Americans left. They just picked a number they knew they could evacuate. For all they know, there are 15,000 or more. The New York Times last week reported that even after the press conference, when Blinken announced the 1,500 number, State Department officials confirmed it could be thousands more Americans. This isn't even counting our Afghan allies, which veterans groups this week estimated at 250,000. Hundreds and thousands of people turned into sitting ducks for torture, terror or worse by Biden. And all because he wanted his mission accomplished moment. He wanted to be the one to stop the endless war. Well, he didn't even establish a mission, let alone accomplish one. He didn't stop the endless war, he just restarted it. Everyone agrees that what he's done has increased the threat of terrorism and decreased our ability to fight it. His own regime raised the domestic threat level here as a direct result of what Biden did there. He keeps blaming Trump and the deal he made with the Taliban, but Trump's deal had conditions attached, and one of them was for the Taliban to work with the Afghan government, which they obviously didn't do. There was no reason to stick to that deal. The Taliban broke it. You think Trump would have stood for that? There was no reason to take all the troops out. Trump left enough to protect our anti-terror operations. There was no reason to leave Bagram Air Base. Trump said just last week his plan was to keep it. Everyone told Biden what a disaster that would be, but Biden did it anyway. Now he says the military told him Bagram wasn't worth keeping. That is a flat-out lie. With the resources Biden gave them, they had to choose between guarding Bagram and the embassy, and Biden knew that. Even as he was doing it, he was pressed on the consequences. He pulled out of Bagram in the middle of the night on July the 1st. On July the 2nd, at the White House, he was touting economic news, but reporters kept asking him about Bagram. Here's what he said. I want to talk about happy things, man. Oh, you just want to talk about happy things? What is this? Story time at the kids' library? You ran for president, not Santa Claus. No wonder Biden's entire regime is falling apart. You've got Blinken giving out a kill list to the Taliban. You've got the Defense Department boasting about building 50,000 housing units practically overnight to provide accommodation for at-risk Afghans, while we've got 37,000 of our own veterans homeless on the streets of America. You've got the head of CENTCOM burbling on about how impressive the Taliban are, and some other general tweeting about Women's Equality Day in the middle of all this. No wonder there's now a crisis of morale inside our military. No wonder this brave Marine commander risked his career and his pension to raise the alarm.
I want to say this very strongly. I have been fighting for 17 years. I am willing to throw it all away to say to my senior leaders, I demand accountability.
Of course, instead of the accountability he rightly called for, he was the one that was fired. Instead of the ex-arms dealer masquerading as defense secretary, why is he still in his job? Why is the swamp lobbyist filling in time before his next corporate gig still our Secretary of State? And why is that vain, narcissistic blob, General Milley, the man who told every passing journalist writing a book that he, Milley, a general, might just have to step in and save democracy from the threat of Donald Trump, the duly elected president? This truly appalling man, Milley, who thinks it's his job to divide the country with his woke musings instead of defending the country with force and conviction. Why on earth is this man still chairman of the Joint Chiefs? But above all, why is Biden still in the White House after this entirely avoidable catastrophe that has killed our Marines, stranded thousands of Americans behind enemy lines, created a new safe haven for terrorists to plan attacks on America, alienated our allies, and brought shame and humiliation to the presidency and this country? To quote his words, Mr. President, and no, you do not deserve the honor of that title, but as a proud American, as someone who respects the Constitution, I will use it, even for you, even now. Mr. President, for what you've done to those families, to this country, to our standing and authority in the world, we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay peacefully with every political and legal means at our disposal. Tell us what you think at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC, and share this message when we post it.